Hey there, I'm Eileen Guilbeault from Las Vegas, Sotheby's International Realty, and you may not know that I love to be outdoors. And you might think I'm crazy because right now in Vegas, it is not cool by any stretch of the imagination. But if you get outside early enough, you are going to find some of the most beautiful terrain that you could ever imagine. So today we're talking all about hiking in Las Vegas, and I'm gonna give you, I could give you hundreds, but I'm gonna give you a few that I really like. So the first one is the Lone Mountain Trail. It is in the Northwest Valley, right off of the 215 and Lone Mountain. And you can actually walk around it. It's about a 2-mile hike. There are elevation changes, so you could be a little breathless. Or on the back of Lone Mountain, there is a heavily walked trail that leads you up to the top of the mountain, and you have a picturesque panoramic view of the entire city of Las Vegas. I do this hike with my friends mostly before sunrise so that you can see the sunrise come up in the east, and it is stunning. Now, the only caveat with this is there are people who try to go up this mountain other ways, and you will hurt yourself. So make sure you're only traveling the one that you know and you can actually see is this well-traveled hike, because we have seen helicopters out there rescuing people who cannot find a way to get off the mountain. So be safe. Don't try to, scale this mountain in some, obscure way. The trail is the best way to go. So Lone Mountain, you have to do it. It's gorgeous. All right, number 2 is everybody's tried and true, if you do come to Vegas for anything outdoors, is Red Rock Canyon. But did you know that there are multiple hikes outside of the 13-mile scenic loop? So a lot of people will go through the scenic loop. You see all the stops. People will stop and hike and picnic and do all of that. But there are several hikes that are outside of that scenic loop. And most of them are marked by trailheads that are on Charleston Boulevard. So if you're continuing west on Charleston Boulevard, even if you pass Red Rock Canyon or the entrance to Red Rock Canyon, there are several other hikes. So make sure to take your time when you're out there. Research the hikes that are available to you. Some of these have beautiful waterfalls. Some of them you can do with your kids. Some of them you don't want to do with your kids. But just keep in mind, if you are coming in the summertime, you really do want to make sure that you have plenty of water and that you are going early in the day. This year alone, we have had several deaths at some of the hotter areas in Las Vegas. So if you can't get to it in the summertime, spring and fall, and even winter, if we're having a mild winter, are amazing times to go to see these beautiful areas. Mount Charleston is number 3. And many people, if they visit here, they've never heard of Mount Charleston, but locals know that that is where you go to get out of the heat in the summertime. And every time it snows on the mountain, you can't even find a place to park. on Mount Charleston because everyone is up there sledding and snowboarding and skiing. Yes, we get enough snow sometimes that you can ski and snowboard on Mount Charleston. But when the snow is not there, there are amazing hikes, and the elevation makes it probably about 15 to 20 degrees cooler when you're on the mountain. There is also a lodge up there where you can stop, use the restroom if you need to, grab a bite to eat, just take in the sights. There are plenty of hikes on Mount Charleston for you to go back time and time again and probably not do many of them twice. So summertime is a perfect time, but honestly, any time of the year, except for maybe when there's snow, is a great time to hike at Mount Charleston. Number 4 is Red Springs in Calico Basin. So right before you get to the visitor center entrance for Red Rock Canyon, there's going to be a turnoff that says Calico Basin. Well, if you follow the road through there, you're going to end up at several different spots. You can end up at Red Springs, and there are several hikes as you kind of get through this little area. So some of them go around the bottom of the mountain, the Craft Mountain Loop, which is beautiful, but make sure you're wearing hiking shoes because it is sandy back there. So if you try to wear your tennis shoes, you do have to kind of get over a few little boulders. So you may not have the best time if you don't have hiking shoes on. I speak from experience. And then if you want a really easy hike, the Red Springs hike at Calico Basin has an elevated kind of walking path that you can take. And the reason that they elevated that is when I was a kid, you could actually run through this meadow and it was green and there were tall grasses and there were flowers. But because of all of the visitors, some of that stuff has gotten a little worse for wear. And so they're trying to keep the general public, because there are so many people that go out there, off of those grasses so that they'll continue to grow and thrive. And so that's why the path is elevated. But there are always people out there taking family photos, just taking in the sights. And then there are actual hiking trails off of this Red Springs elevated walkway that you can take. So keep your eyes open. You'll see the signs. The trails are marked. But Calico Basin is where you may want to go if all of the reservations for Red Rock Canyon are full, or if it's just a really busy day at Red Rock Canyon, you may want to just take the Calico Basin little diversion, because you also don't have to pay to go into Calico Basin. So take your time, check out the trails. They all give you on, I want to say it's alltrails.com. They'll give you a rating of how difficult all of the trails are, but you're going to love them all. Number 5 is Valley of Fire. And I'm recording this in the summertime. Please don't go in the summertime. If you think it's hot in Las Vegas, Valley of Fire is probably 10 degrees hotter. So if it's 115 here, it's 125 degrees in Valley of Fire. This is an absolute winter, spring, fall hiking system out at Valley of Fire. But it is gorgeous. There are what they call mouse tanks. There are little holes in the rocks that look like maybe little beehives or whatever. But I mean, they are beautiful. And you'll see a lot of field trips going out there for school kids. And you will see just the beautiful red rocks. There are what look like waves out there of rocks that if you didn't know any better and they weren't red, you might think it was a wave, but it's not. It's actually rock out there. But there is just so much to do, so much to see. You're going to see wildlife. You are going to see just beautiful, just cactus and flowers and things that you may not see once you're in the city. So just take your time, drink your water, make sure you're not there in the summertime, but you are going to love this area. And it's another sandy one, so make sure that you have some good hiking shoes on. All right, number 6 is the Historic Railroad Tunnel Trail. This one's pretty flat, but it takes you through what used to be a railroad system that came from Boulder City. So it's kind of nice because even if it is hot out and you're still doing this early, but you get the shade when you're going through the tunnels. And so it gives you a little bit of reprieve from the sun. The parking area, don't quote me, but if I'm remembering correctly, it's close to the Hoover Dam. So there is a parking lot there that you can park in, and people ride their bikes, they walk, they run. It is an easy trail. It lets you see parts of Hoover Dam. It also lets you see Lake Mead. So this is a perfect trail for just kind of meandering and taking in some sights. Last but definitely not least is the McCullough Hills Trail System. Now, this one, I have no idea how big this is. I have done this trail a few times with friends, and it appears to me to be a little unending. We kind of go till we get tired, and then we turn around and we go back. But it is one of these trails that is just showing you the beauty of the desert. You're just surrounded by hills, and you find the trailhead at McCullough Hills Park, and it will just guide you right into the trail. So you will see mountain bikers, hikers, people walking their dogs, or, people running with their dogs. And you will just be blown away by how expansive the desert is behind just a regular subdivision in the middle of Henderson. So this trail, just be sure that you're kind of tracking where you're going, because there isn't really, from what I've seen, an end point. You just want to make sure that you're not going out too far, that you don't have the energy to get yourself back to where you started from. And again, all of these hikes are just personal experience, nothing else other than that. So please get outdoors, enjoy Las Vegas, be on the Strip. And if you have a hike that you love, please be sure to send it my way so I can check it out. And we'll see you next time.